Hello BookTube, hello friends, welcome to Lizzie Faye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and in this video I'd like to do the clue game tag. Now this video was created by Sarah from the Bookish Knitter and Scott and Becky of the Bookish Bryants, and they created this for March Mystery Madness this year. And it is a super fun tag. I have been trying to get to it all month, and I finally have gotten a few things checked off my list, and I feel like I can get in here and do this today. I made a quick trip to the library to check out one book that I really wanted to show you, and I just am ready to do this. So this is a super fun tag that is based on the Clue game. Now I've got our old edition of the Clue game here. I understand that in the UK this is called Cluedo. I don't really get that, but so be it. If that's what it's called, that's what it's called. But here in the States, it is called Clue. It is a fun game where you have to play a detective and by a process of elimination, figure out who done it, what they did it with, and what room they did it in. And it's just a fun game. So Scott and Becky and Sarah took some of the characters and the weapons and the rooms and made prompts out of them, and I can't wait to do this. I am so excited. So I've got my glasses here because I'm going to be reading these off my old phone. I don't want to skip any or forget any or whatever, and let's just get this done. So the first four are characters. Now they didn't do all the characters and all the weapons and all the rooms because they wanted to tighten it up a little bit and just make 12 prompts. So we've got four characters: Mr. Green, Colonel Mustard, Miss Peacock, and Mrs. White. So the first character, Mr. Green, we want to find a book that takes place in the UK because apparently Mr. Green is from the UK. Well, after they sorted that all out, then someone commented that all the characters were from the UK, and okay, that's great. But I'm kind of glad that all of the prompts don't have to be from the UK because I don't have that many books that are set in the UK, at least not mysteries. But I do have at least one, and so that's the one I'm going to show you. And it happens to have a predominantly green cover, so yay, Mr. Green. This was sent to me from the UK, actually, by my friend Catherine from Jane Catherine on Books. It's from the Kate Shackleton series by Frances Brodie, and it is a historical series. This one is A Death in the Dales. I have listened to the first one on audio, but I haven't gotten to this one yet. I think this is book 7, but this is the only physical one that I have on my shelf, so it definitely counts for this prompt. And then the next one is Colonel Mustard, and that is to show a book that features a character in the military. So this could be any military. It could be any era, any war, any military, any branch of the military, whatever you can come up with. And I just now thought of the Military Canine Unit series, which I could have shown you, but I've shown you those a lot. And this one works because this is All the President's Menus by Julie Heisey. This is one of the books in the White House Chef Mystery Series, and this counts because in the U.S., our president is the commander-in-chief of the military. So I'm going with this one. I have not read this one. I have only read the first one, and I loved it. So I have every confidence that I will love the rest of the series, too. The next one is and they're all going to fall. Hold on one second. I knew that was bound to happen. Anyway, hopefully it won't happen again. So the third prompt is for Miss Peacock, and that is to find a book that you feel is patriotic. So I found this book on my shelf. It is book 2 in the Annie's Attic Mysteries. It's called Medals in the Attic, and the synopsis says that the main character of the book finds an old trunk in the attic of this old house or mansion or whatever, and it contains war medals. So you got to be patriotic to earn some war medals, I would think. So I'm going with this one. I have not read any of this series yet. Then the next one is to find a book. It's for Mrs. White, and it's to find a book where the main character is part of the household staff. Well, I definitely have to go with Mrs. Jeffries. I listened to the first 3 of these last year, right after Victober. These are set in the Victorian era, and Mrs. Jeffries is the housekeeper, I believe, or the head housekeeper for an inspector, and she helps him solve mysteries without him even knowing it. So I thought these were a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to reading or listening to more of this series. I'm going to try to, maybe knock out a few of these every October for the next little while. in celebration of the Victober readathon that happens during October. And then the next 4 are the rooms. And here we go again. Oh my goodness. Okay, problem solved. I'm just going to hold the next 4 and then I'll pause it and put them up and get the next 4. Okay, so the next ones are the rooms. So we've got library, kitchen, conservatory, and hall. So for library, the obvious one is to find a book about books. So I decided to go with a bookmobile. I miss our bookmobile so much. To my knowledge, it's not running right now and hasn't been since the COVID shutdown. It may be running now. Katie said she thinks she saw it, but anyway, I love the bookmobile. And this is the Bookmobile Cat series, and this is book 5, I believe, 4 or 5. I don't own any others, and I've only read the first one. I think I've listened to it on audio. This series is by Laurie Cass. This is Cat with a Clue, and it's a book about books and a bookmobile and a cat, a great cat. I'm pretty sure this is the series that's about the cat named Eddie, and he's just awesome. Okay, so then the next one is the kitchen, and that prompt is to show a book that is a culinary mystery. So I just started reading a book last night. It was sent to me by the author. It's her debut novel. The author is Jessica Thompson, and the book is called A Caterer's Guide to Love and Murder. And there is the very cute cover, and I'm already enjoying it. I've only read the first chapter, and at the end of the first chapter, it has a really good sounding recipe. So I think it's going to be a fantastic book, and I'm looking forward to finishing it and telling you more about it as we go. So I looked it up on Kindle, and the ebook right now is $3.99. So if that sounds interesting to you, then I hope you'll check it out. All right, then moving on, the next prompt is conservatory, and that is to find a book or a book cover featuring plants, flowers, or trees. I've got 3 of the Peggy Lee Garden mystery series by Joyce and Jim Levine. This is book 3. It's called Poisoned Petals, and I have not read any of these. I think Di of the Book One Cozies Club read one of these for a Book One Cozies Club a couple years back, maybe. Di, if you're watching this, correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, I definitely want to get to this series, and like I said, I've got 3 of them on my shelf. And then the last one of the rooms is Hall, and that is to show a book that takes place in a mansion. Well, this is book 1 of the Faye Longchamp series, and there is an old plantation house right there. In this book, according to the synopsis, the main character has inherited an old plantation house from an ancestor, and she is trying to decide what to do with it. And there's some archaeological themes because our main character is an archaeology student, I believe. So as the series goes, I believe she does become an archaeologist. I'm not certain of that. I've got 3 of these on my shelf, and again, I have not read any of them. But this one has kind of a Native American theme, and so that's what drew me to it. Or maybe it's the 3rd one. Yeah, I think it's the 3rd one. Anyway, I'm excited about these, and I think they're on Hoopla on audio. So what am I waiting for? I need to get to those. All right, let me put these up, and I'll get the next 4. Okay, I left the last one up there because I didn't want my shelf to be empty, but I'll get it down in a minute when I get to the last prompt. Okay, the last 4 prompts are the weapons. So we have Candlestick, Gun, Wrench, and Dagger. So for Candlestick, the prompt is to show a book that takes place or was published prior to 1802. Well, I don't have a lot of those kind of books. In fact, the only one that really comes to mind that I've read is The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. I did or do have a copy, but I think it's out of my garage with all the books that I'm not keeping. And I kind of went out there and looked, and I didn't see it on top of the stack. And I thought, I'm not going to dig for it because it doesn't even have a dust jacket. So it's not even going to really show up on the video. But I do have one that I think works for this prompt, even though it's, to my knowledge, not set prior to 1802 or published prior to 1802 because it's from the Candle Making Mysteries, and the prompt is Candlestick. This is A Flicker of Doubt by Tim Myers. I think this is book 4 in that series, and I have not read any of them. Again, this is a series that Book One Cozies Club, I believe, read the first one of, and I did not get to it, but it is definitely on my radar. I've got this one, and just recently I went through and reorganized all my cozy mysteries, like literally a couple of days ago, and I added a bunch of them to my TBR jar. So this is one that's in there, and I think that's going to be a good way for me to get to some of these random ones that I've only got, you know, 1 or 2 on my shelf. Okay, then we have Gun, and this one is to show a book featuring a police officer. Well, this is the first one of the series, although I just finished listening to 3 from the Mr. Monk series this month. I just went ahead and pulled out the first one, although really this is a series that you absolutely could read in any order. They are all separate mysteries. Really, none of them build on the other. There is one of the ones I read this month kind of has to do with what happened in the previous book, but still, you could read these in any order, much like the Monk TV show, which you could watch in any order. So if you have ever watched the show and you haven't read any of the books, this is the first one, but you could really just pick one up and love it. They're so good, just really fantastic, laugh out loud funny, and just excellent mysteries. So I highly recommend it. This is Mr. Monk Goes to the Firehouse, which, like I said, is the first one, but you know, if you just find one randomly somewhere and you want to grab it, then, you know, this coming from a person who really reads everything in order, and I'm reading this series in order, but having read it and having watched the show, I can honestly tell you, it's fine. You could read them in any order. In fact, an aside here, I have now gone through the first 6 that I have on my shelf. They're the only ones I can find on audio. And I've got a few other random ones on my shelf. I am probably going to go ahead now and just read the ones on my shelf while I have them, and then go ahead and pass them on to someone else and not try to read the rest of the series in order, because I really want to just read what's on my shelf. So at some point I'll try to pick up the ones I don't have, but I'm going forward, I'm probably just going to read next the ones that are on my shelf. Okay. Now, those of you who read things in order, don't be horrified. These are like an Agatha Christie book. Each one is its own separate mystery. It's fine. Okay, we've got 2 left. The next one is Wrench. I keep saying read a book. Find a book where there is a skilled trade worker. And I was racking my brain thinking, what am I going to show? And then, duh, it hit me. I'm listening to one of these right now. In fact, I'm listening to this one in my car. This is one of the #1 Ladies Detective Agency books. And this one I don't know the number of, but this is The Handsome Man's Deluxe Cafe. That just happens to be this title. Any of these would work because there is a main character who is a car mechanic. And in fact, there are a total of 3 characters that are main characters in this series that work on cars. So I think that can count as a skilled laborer. I'm sure they use wrenches, and I think that's perfect for this prompt. All right, we've got 1 left. Let me trade these out, and I'll be right back. All right, the last one is Dagger, and that is to show a book where there is a ritualistic murder. Now, this is the first in this series, and I can't remember the specifics, but I know that the main villain in this series does do some ritualistic killing, and it, I mean, oh my goodness, he's messed up. But I have really enjoyed the series. It's a 5-book series. I have read all of them. And this is by J.A. Jance, who is one of my most read authors. This is the first book in the Brandon Walker or Walker family series. And this series is a little bit different than most of her other series because you know from the beginning who the villain is, and you watch the crimes unfold, and you are kind of in his head. And oh my goodness, it's tough, but still, J.A. Jance just does such a great job of weaving all this together and telling this story, and I think that they're great. This is Hour of the Hunter, And I think that Scott of the Bookish Bryants has read this month. Again, it's not really a mystery, but it's definitely crime fiction, and so definitely counts for March Mystery Madness. And this is a series I would read in order, because the things that happen in each book do have a lot to do with what happened in the previous books. So I would definitely start with this one if you're interested in reading this series. So that is it. That is the books that I have to show you for the clue game tag. And I hope that you will do this tag. We've still got a week left in the month of March. And really, this tag doesn't have to be during March. It was created for March Mystery Madness, but it could just keep going all year. I don't even remember now who has done this, but the one person I do want to tag is someone who doesn't have a channel, but she does some great Instagram pictures, and that is Melinda from Two Boys Scrappin'. She has an awesome Instagram page and is participating in the Connect the Clues game and all of that. So Melinda, if you want to do this tag on Instagram, I would love for you to do that. And anybody else who would like to do it on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, I hope that you will if you have not already done so. So that's all. So wouldn't you know, the one person I decided to tag has already done the tag. That's what I get for not checking first. Anyway, go check out her page on Instagram. It's Two Boys Scrappin'. I'll link it down below. Meanwhile, if you want to do this tag, then please do it by all means. It is super fun, and it doesn't even have to be in the month of March. Anytime. So that's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.